Greetings, fellow traders, and thank you to all the new subscribers. So for today, we are just trading the US session. For some reason, the market has been very slow to reacting to news events. So I don't know what's going on in that regard. But anyhow, we can see here today we did have some heavy news on the US dollar. And the news was actually pretty good. So that was a nice change for the US dollar. And we can see that the US dollar also had a nice jump. But for some reason, gold is just not really moving, which is kind of a surprise because gold is normally very reactive to news on the US dollar. So we can take a look at the US dollar and just see what is happening here. And we can see the US dollar had a nice little jump. So for this session, since things are moving kind of slow, we're just going to do some technical analysis for this video and hope that maybe some volatility and some bigger volumes will kick in. So we can see here that there was quite a bit of demand that built on the US dollar right around this area. And this demand was bigger than this supply. So it makes sense that the price made a nice jump. Now we can kind of see that a bearish hammer is forming. So this is when you see uh, this massive supply zone above the candle. And so far, we don't see any wicks below the candle. What that means is the buyers tried to push the price even higher, but then the sellers came in and said, no, that's not happening. We're going to reject that price from going up. And now the sellers are taking control of the price and it's dropping down. Now, when you see the Bollinger Bands start to get more narrow, that means that's a sign that volumes are going down. When it comes to Bollinger Bands, what you want to see is the bands getting wider. So you want to see like the lower band, go down and like the upper band go up, kind of like this area over here. So you can see how wide the bands are. So that's a sign that there were big volumes that came in to really move the market. So for some reason, the volumes are quite low. It's 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the US. So we should see some pretty big volumes. So I don't know what's going on with that regard. So let's take a look at gold and see what is happening here. So gold is stuck in this tight little consolidation. So if you guys have been watching my videos recently, you know that my current strategy is to use buy stops at resistance and sell stops at support zones on the 15-minute time frame. So just for my visual learners out there, I'm going to put um, that up here just so we have that. So in essence, if we want to buy, we want to buy if the price is above 2043. And then we want to sell if the price is going to be below 20 37 56 roughly. So we'll just edit this real quick. And we will also change the color just so we can see That is in fact a sell, just for visual purposes. So this is a very narrow or very tight consolidation. And the same thing that we saw on the US dollar, where the Bollinger Bands was getting pretty narrow, you can see here that even on gold, the Bollinger Bands are getting pretty narrow, which means for some reason the volumes are very low. And you can also tell by the bodies of the candles that there really isn't that much volume for some reason. Gold has been behaving a little bit different lately, whereas the big moves is not happening on the news events. So it's happening at very odd times when you least expect it, like at 8 o'clock on a Sunday evening, or like yesterday, there is big news scheduled on the US dollar around 10 o'clock in the morning, but gold decided to make its big move at 8:15. I can show you guys that in case you missed it yesterday. Uh, so so it's very interesting what's happening. So this was what I was referring to. So the big news on the US dollar happened at 10 o'clock in the morning, right here. But for some reason, gold started making that move at 8 o'clock in the morning. Normally, this consolidation that you see right here would happen all the way up until the actual news event. So for gold to take off like, 2 hours before the event is quite unusual. And we'll just take a quick look at any trades I have open. So not much there. And not much here, not much there either. So I did have a sell stop that was triggered, and we can see that's doing pretty good. I decided to add in a trade on the Euro US dollar. Since gold had a nice little jump, I figured it was pretty safe to go ahead and sell the Euro US dollar. And this is pretty much a pretty slow day. So depending on what you guys use for your volumes, whether it's MACD, whether it's Bollinger Bands or whatever, you guys can see here that for some reason, the volume for the US session is very low today. So for that reason, the market really isn't going to move that well. So let me go back to trading view. We're just going to do some technical analysis on reading candles for price action today. And we'll see what happens over time to see if anything really picks up. Okay, so looking at these candles, we can see here that when the US session opened, there was some demand that tried to be built, but the sellers were actually in control. So when it comes to reading candles, even though there's like a million different types of them, um, you don't really need to know every single type of candle. You just basically need to understand what the candles actually mean. So when you have a red candle, that basically means there are more sellers than there were buyers. And when you have a green candle, that just means there are more buyers than there were sellers. The bottom of the candle represents demand, and the top of the candle represents supply. So if we look here, we see that there is way more demand than there was supply, but the sellers were in control and that's why this candle was red. Now you can see here that the price dropped to a strong support zone, and for the moment, the buyers are in control of this area. So anytime the price touches this level, that means the buyers should have enough strength to push the price up. If this support zone is ever broken, then that is a sign that the buyers have lost control and the sellers are going to take over and they're going to keep pushing the price lower. All right. So now let's look at this next candle here. So again, so now we have a strong supply zone and we have more supply than there is demand. And we also have more sellers than we do buyers. So when you see a candle like this, you should see a continuation of lower lows or a downtrend. But then you saw what happened. The sellers tried to push below this support zone, and the buyers were like, you know what, that's not happening. We control this area. We're going to keep this price from going up. So again, now you see what is happening on this candle, where the sellers are trying to once again take control, and they're building up a lot of pressure to push the price below. So in situations like this, what I look at is an overall view of what is happening. You can see here between this candle and this candle that there is more demand than there is supply. So in theory, the price should go up. And it seems like the buyers are doing very well to control this area from the price dropping. At the same time, the buyers are having a hard time pushing the price past this supply zone at 2041. So this is a sign of consolidation, and there's going to have to be something that's going to break this range, whether it's going to be a news release or something has to happen to break this this range. And we basically need volumes at this point because we can kind of see the volumes are increasing a little bit just because when we first started, you saw the Bollinger Bands getting very narrow. But now you can kind of see the Bollinger Bands are trying to get wider. And as they try to get wider, then that's a sign that the volumes are going to get bigger. So we can see here on this candle right here, you know, the buyers are trying to build more demand to push the price up. We can see here, this was a great candle for buyers. And usually when you see a candle like this, the next candle should be a strong bullish candle. And as long as this continues and we can see a high or a break above this supply zone, that could be a sign that buyers are going to run away with this. So these are the type of things that I look at when I'm trading, so that I'm factoring in what is really happening with the currency pair that I'm trading. And sometimes it's better to just call it a day, especially if the market isn't moving. Otherwise, that means you're going to be sitting in front of your computer, just staring at things. And sometimes it takes minutes, sometimes it takes hours. So times like this is also good if you have an EA that is designed for consolidating conditions. All right, so this is all for today. I will try and do another video this week. Hopefully we have some bigger volumes on the news releases that's scheduled this week so that we can really have some action. Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in with me today, and I will see you in the next video.